sorry about that. Went ahead and just pulled us back to make a totally clean stream so I can delete the 2 really bad ones when we're done and have this one be on our channel in one solid recording. Sorry about that. I understand I don't sound great today. I will figure out what's going on in between this podcast and the next one. Trust me, I tried. I don't know how to fix it. Welcome. Stop telling me what it sounds like. You guys are driving me a little crazy because it's making me anxious. I'm sorry. I know it's bad. Stop telling me it's bad. Please.
I don't know. I think Cray's interpretation of this is spot on.
Yeah, I'll make sure to speak up as best I can. Alrighty. So, welcome to our Tokotas podcast for March 26th, 2022. We've got lots of fun things to talk about today. I let Dunn make the agenda, so her agenda is way more detailed than any of them that I make. Hers has 5 bullet points for every point, and I'm usually I just do welcome. Don't forget to talk about the rough mains, and that's about it. So, we have an awesome, fun agenda today. We have one not so fun topic, which we're going to talk about art theft, but specifically in the form of design theft. And I will get to that a little later on. Starting off, let's talk about rough mains. At the start of March, we gave a small preview about, hey, we're doing new rough main lines. Sadly, there was a spoiler before we were able to get it out there. Somebody went ahead and told everyone that it was happening before we got there, and I'm sorry about that. I'm touching on it only in the form of cleaning up some confusion, which is we don't hate the old rough main lines. We actually loved them. We're just lots of complaints over the years about them, and it finally came to a head at the end of February, beginning of March with those complaints, and we've decided we'll give them a glow up. People are saying that's not great. And then when we went and checked the numbers matched what people were telling us. So we should have been listening sooner than we were on it. It just...
For context, silkies are harder to breed than rough mains and came out within 6 months of them. And there were more silkies in the system than rough mains.
Yep. So the numbers matched the feelings around. Dunn said, for reference, we checked up how many silkies existed in the system. Silkies and roughs came out within 6 months of each other. Roughs are significantly easier to breed for, and there are 2 to 3 times more silkies than there are rough mains. So, yeah. It is what it is. Sorry about that. Mains sometimes don't always drop well, and then people kind of get used to it, but numbers showed people didn't really care about this main. So...
Let's see, we're 2 years in. They came out in 2020.
Yep, 2 years in.
Yeah.
All right. So, let
me know if that's better for you guys, by the way.
With that being said, we have finished the new rough main lines. Aren't they adorable across the board? You've already seen... The taquinos aren't getting glow up because they're already in this style. But as you can see, we've got new rough main lines done by our lovely Daff. She's finished them. We got the physical traits done by Sear. Yep, Sear's come through and done all of that and done a couple edits. And right now they're going through their final checks where people are going into the PSDs, making sure there's no open gaps, making sure everything lines up.
Making sure the files or the layers are named appropriately.
Yes, making sure the layers are named appropriately. And as soon as all of that is done, we will kick them live. So expect to see these on April 1st or 2nd. Within the open window. That being said, what are we going to do with old versus new lines? Well, the answer is we're just doing free makeovers for existing roughs for the first 3 months. There's only 150 of them, period, over 2 years, and it's an uncommon main. So for the first 3 months, if you want to use the new lines, all you have to do is get your design onto the new line and put it in import updates. The DCers will check it, make sure that the design still matches, and that's it. For free. You don't have to spend anything or anything like that. Starting as soon as these lines go out, for rough mains, we're going to treat them like we treat the old long main lines, which is you can use them, but you have to go through our normal process and then use a makeover token to use them. That's the goal on it. So that's what we're doing for the rough mains. We are happy to see these. They look a little bit more, I think, like the original interpretation that we wanted to, which makes me a little happy as well. Are there any questions about the rough main lines, what we're doing with them, or anything like that? Yes, please direct all your questions to the podcast questions channel, and then Dunn will read them to me. And since my computer is being a bit of a pill, I will likely have to read them aloud again and repeat anything that Dunn says.
I will just speak up.
Mm-hmm.
Use my big person voice today.
Yeah, use your big person voice today.
We had somebody typing.
All right, we'll give them a second to type.
Beards are getting a redo too, yes?
Yes, beards are getting a redo as well. They are not done yet.
Yeah, we are. Oh, thank you, Disc, for check marking that. We're in the process of those. Those will probably be May at the earliest.
They'll likely be May at the earliest for us to get them done. Yes.
Ah, yes, what Cray said.
Listen to Cray. Cray said to correct me, because thankfully people do. You don't need to go through import updates. For those, you can use the makeover token for the old lines in normal DC. So you have to buy and spend the makeover token in DC. Gotcha. Thank you, Cray. All right, so that's what's going on with rough mains. Next, let's talk about our new event coming in May, the Festival of Flowers. This is our first time running this event. We've moved on to this new holiday schedule where every other month we're going to have like a Tokotas, Tokoween-esque event. That'll be a standard thing we do year round, and you'll be used to seeing it. So for this one, we usually did Easter, and we called it Easter in Tokos, but Easter moves every year, and
Which made it complicated.
It did complicate it because sometimes it kind of overlapped with Tokotimes fun, and sometimes it kind of pushed itself into anniversary fun. So we were like, okay, we're gonna decouple this from Easter a little bit, and we'll make it a springtime event, little less religiously based as well, which we appreciate because then it includes everybody to come in and fun in spring. And we will put it in coming in April. We will have the Festival of Flowers. The Festival of Flowers has a fun new background, which I am going to show you now. Yes, look at this. Look at this gorgeous. So this will be going on the festive stone for the Festival of Flowers. Festive stones are available for purchase during any holiday month that we have rolling. And when you buy a festive stone, you do not have to use the background that came out that month. You can use any background that's on the stone. And then we use them as... Oh, Daft did this one as well.
This is still a whip.
Yes.
The finished.
This is technically a whip. It's not actually done yet. And this will not have any HU. Most festive stone ones don't. Yeah, it's a little crazy. And as a reminder, we will have another Lost Son of Fenrir coming with this event. Have we made the decision on exactly how that's going out?
Yes, it's going to be very similar to the last. There's going to be an art prompt and a just equal stakes raffle across the board.
Okay, so this time around, just like Tokotines, there will be an art prompt with an equal stakes raffle across the board. And that's for the Son of Fenrir. The design for them is already in progress. I do not have it for you just yet. And as always, we will have a site-based art thing to do, or excuse me, a DA-based art thing to do, and a site-based event. This year, we're going to do basically flower gathering, and it's going to work like this. Everybody on your page, once a day, you'll be able to pick one of about, I think we decided on 10 different flowers, such as orchids or sunflowers, honeysuckle, things like that. We've picked those, and you'll set that, and then you'll have a certain amount on your page that can be picked. Other people will come to your page and pick the flowers and take them into their inventory. These actually do go into inventories. And if all of your flowers get picked, you get one of that flower. Then you can then take different bundles of flowers, and you will need different flowers for each of these, and you will be able to go to the crafting system and craft flower basically bundles, right? flower baskets, excuse me. You'll be able to craft flower baskets. They'll open into things that you'll be able to use in gardening or possibly new companions, which I have a slide for that which you'll get to see in just a second.
And of course, the special event companions will be there.
Yes, and the special event companions that you would normally get during the Easter event will also be here. So they'll still stay in this nice little springtime event. And this will be the Festival of Flowers gathering. Everybody will only be able to pick so many a day, the same way you can only pick one flower to grow a day. And it'll go on profiles, just as we've seen it plenty of times before. So, who wants to see some of the cool, fun stuff that's coming up? Oh, speaking of gardening, so for gardening, I know we said April. I apologize. A lot of stuff came up. We did a massive inventory update. You'll all recall at the beginning of March that the site stayed offline for a couple extra days, and then crafting stayed offline for almost a week more because we were doing an update to how we store data in the inventory. It was a huge ordeal. And because we made that change, the time I was going to spend on gardening just didn't happen. So gardening is being pushed to May, but you'll still get seeds and other fun stuff that you'll be able to use as soon as gardening comes online in May. So, all right, now let's look at some fun stuff. Here we go. Lots of fun things. You'll see that at least 2 new companions are coming around.
Actually, there's 4 companions on that slide.
Oh, she's right. There's 4 companions. Those are 2 different companions. And you can see Locke has given us another gorgeous little Aga plushie. So cute. And I believe this is Kira. Kira did Orchid. She's working on lots of flowers for us right now. They're all gorgeous every time she hands me a new one. And then Honeysuckle. This
was Sinfire Ranch or something?
I think it was Sinfire Ranch.
It's been years since we've been sitting on this for years.
We've had this sitting in the back burner for years looking for something, and gardening, when it came up, we've decided to use all those assets to that. So here you can see we've got lots of new companions coming out.
Sheba did the bee, and then Shino did lamb and sheep.
All right, Sheba did the bee. Shino did the lamb and the sheep.
Which are different.
Mm-hmm. The lamb and the sheep are actually 2 different companions. Okay. Any questions about Festival of Flowers? There is some things on that event that are still a little up in the air. They'll get decided during close when we start putting journals up. Obviously, people will have questions during that event as well, and we'll deal with it when they come up. But any questions about Festival of Flowers, you can ask about the little Chakotay event. And while people are typing their questions, I'll let you know. So it's come up a bunch of times before. What's in an openable? Which, guess what? The flower baskets are going to be openables. What's in an openable? Well, now if you go to their Tokopedia page, there will be a list of all possible items. It doesn't have rarities on there. It doesn't tell you, it'll tell you if it's like equal chance or choice, or if it's a 3-tier or 6-tier rarity. But that being said, it won't tell you exactly what's in each rarity category. I just didn't make it that snazzy just yet. Also because the names of our rarity tiers are pretty terrible. Yeah.
Especially on 6-tier.
Especially on 6-tier. There's only so many ways you can say something's rare.
Rare, mega rare, extremely
Really
rare, ultra rare.
Yeah. So, yes, but they're on there for you, so you can see them. And when the flower baskets come online, they will also have what's in them displayed. So you don't have to take a guess. You can just go look at it. And all crafting of these baskets will be successful. We have made that decision that crafting on the baskets, which will be free recipes in the crafting system, will be successful. So if you're trying to rank up some tiers because you just need some successful crafts, these will count.
All right, ready for questions?
Yes.
Will any of the festive stone backgrounds get variants like time of day or colors?
Will any of the festive stone backgrounds get variants? Maybe. I don't have them planned right now, but it's not a bad idea at all. With variants, I do have a level of expectation. We've been asked before, hey, can we have the Aurora background for alphas in like green and purple? But the reality is every time we go to do that, because we don't have the original artwork anymore, and we like throw a layer over it, it blows out all of the detail on the Aurora. It looks terrible, and that's why we didn't do it. That being said, it would be the same thing here. We still know lots of these artists are still around. If somebody makes us a nighttime version of something, then yeah, we might drop it into the festive stone background in the coming years, and that would be great. But if somebody throws like a blue overlay on it and it looks terrible, we won't do it.
Mm-hmm.
That's just where we stand on that. Next question.
Someone was typing.
Oh.
But I don't see them typing now, so.
I wonder if I answered their question with my little tangent.
Possibly.
Mm-hmm.
You are very good at tangenting.
I am pretty great at tangenting. Yes, that is true. All right, so that's festival flowers.
Man, you repeating everything I say is hilarious.
Well, I know some people can hear you, but I bet some people can't.
I'm speaking up.
All right, show of hands. Who can hear done? Speak done.
Speak done? What do you want me to say? AWOOO?
Nope. Some people are like, no, yes, always. Oh, cray. Very quiet. I can. All right. We can hear her AWOOO. That is AWOOO. All right. So you're still very faint.
Okay. I will speak up more then. So sorry, guys. My voice... I got in trouble for this a lot in school. My voice only goes so loud.
She's not kidding. I'd have to say what when we're sitting on the couch next to each other. All right. What we usually do is we have like the snowball in between us, so it'll catch done, and I know that we'll put it closer to her because I'll speak up. But I'm gonna have to get a microphone that works on USB-C now.
This thing picked me up the first time we got it. I don't know what's up. It might just be the same problems with the tinniness today.
Yeah, it might be that. Also, usually you would be sitting here. We were closer.
Don't I normally sit in this chair?
We don't normally record right here.
Oh,
We sit in your room in the two chairs.
But there's only one chair now.
Yes, exactly. Apologies. Tangent over. Back to this. I have awesome news about World Tour. So the last time we did a podcast, I said that I was going to hire a team because I didn't have time for this. Like, I was so drowned in everything. So I did. I put out the feelers. A couple admins on the team joined, like Duck and Frey, or Scribbles. I'm going by Scribbles now. They joined the team and started helping with the writing and getting everything back on track. And a bunch of other people joined us. Ree, Eva, Ellie, and Haru joined the team as coders and writers, and they have knocked it out of the park. Like, keeping in mind that everybody came into this having to learn everything about World Tour adventures. They did not have 3 previous adventures worth that's in my head. So they came in, they picked up Twine, they got it functional. At one point I told them, hey guys, I'm heads down on something at work, and you're not going to see me for the next 3, maybe 4 weeks because it's the biggest go live of my life. And they were like, oh, I understand. So they just kept working without me. They have finished Fosphere in writing, in coding. I've run the playtest. It's pretty cool. We are just waiting on some art. And that means everything in Fosphere is ready to go except a couple art assets. Doc has graciously agreed to come back and do our backgrounds again. And Mooney, Gecko, and Red, another shout out to you guys, they're going through and they are getting our overlays in place. So we have multiple artists working, and hopefully end of April we will be looking at going to Fosphere for the first time out into the Badlands. And they've just rocked it, and they're already starting to spin on the next chapter. So the concept of every other month is completely impossible. It's not going to happen, but we will be moving faster than we have been moving in the past with a whole team. And you guys have been doing amazing at this. I really appreciate the help. A lot of them also buckled down and helped with the inventory recoding to get it done over that particular weekend. Yep. Oh, and a bunch of restyling. We can thank Haru, who just restyled a ton of extra pages while we were there. All right. Faux Spear is coming with all of the things that we've had before. And that means there will be a DD design contest. This will be for artists to do design work on. There will be a canon location and NPC writing contest, just like before. We'll put that in. And there will be a brawl round coming as well, on top of the adventure.
Oh, should we discuss the slight changes we're going to make to the schedule moving forward?
Yes, we should.
Okay. So those of you who've done World Tour, with the contest, you're used to like the 4 weeks span of things coming out and closing and whatnot. It's been pitched that we do, 2 weeks of open before the first round of Brawl starts. So the first 2 weeks will be the adventure, the canon contest, and all that stuff will be there. And then 2 weeks in, we'll start the first round of Brawl. 2 weeks after that will be the second round of Brawl. So we'll be looking more at this spread over 6 weeks.
Mm-hmm. Yep, so it'll be a 6-week span instead of, and it's come up before, well, why don't we just leave the design contest open the whole time? Trust me on this. We found the sweet spot for most design contests, and the answer is 2 to 3 weeks. Keeping it open 6 weeks, we're not going to get more, maybe a couple people, but overall, the motivation will be there, and we're going to get things done in that time.
Also, judging these takes a while.
Judging these takes forever, which is why they're coming first. And while you guys are doing everything else that has much more static judging, we will try and get through that in those 4 weeks. Mm-hmm. But we now have a wonderful team that can help us do all of the editing and can help us make sure that everything is that Toko vibe that we're going for.
Toko vibe?
Hey, Toko's has a vibe. I like to think we have a sense of humor. I hope that people find things as funny as I do. Mm-hmm. I mean, we have a gas station for a can location, okay?
Oh my god, I love our gas station so much.
Right? And that being said...
Speaking of that horror vibe...
Badlands means we have a lot of new things coming. Horrors will be coming with Badlands. That's right. Horrors will be coming, hopefully, in the end of April, as always. There will be unlocks that happen based on how many stamps come out. So the more stamps, the sooner horrors come. Don't be shocked. They're going to be the last unlock in this. They're not going to be the first one. As you can see, we have a bearded dragon totem.
Shout out to Kep for getting our totems back on control.
Heck so yes. Thankful. Thank you, Kep. We have a wallaby. Who did our wallaby?
Locke.
That's Locke. That is right.
And Locke also did our lovely prey, which will have all you dino fanatics happy.
Yep. Look. Reptile prey. Here it comes.
Don't call it reptile. Admit it's a dinosaur.
Okay, it's a dinosaur. Fine. Dinosaurs are in the Badlands. Are you happy? Faux Spear has the dinosaurs.
I will go check the child.
Please do. My little tab doesn't want to take a nap. We can hear him singing. But here we go. You can see all of the cool, fun stuff that's coming in Faux Spear. And it will hopefully be late April. We are honestly waiting on art assets. And half of that is I have Mooney going, tell me what to draw. And it will be done. And I'm like, I have to get you a sheet of things and set you going. If anyone has any questions about World Tour in general, or specifically about Faux Spear, any of the contests, or anything that's previously happened, please direct them to podcast questions in the Discord channel, and I will go ahead and help them. Yeah, but aggressively helpful artists can be great, Cray. Really, really great. I will answer them in just a moment. Dun has gotten up, and as soon as she comes back around, she'll read off to me anything that's going on. Oh, and a reminder, there will be a raffle at the end of this Discord. I don't know what we're raffling yet, but we're raffling.
It's a midpoint.
Okay, it's a midpoint, apparently, so that we have time to, like, count it and
it's
such.
It's on the agenda.
It's on the agenda. Oh, yeah, it's a surprise to me, too. She may have written something in the agenda. Any questions coming for Fosbury?
Oh, there's people typing.
All right.
Vic says raffle off a 75.
Ah, maybe.
That's a little excessive.
That
for a
is excessive.
podcast.
I'm not going to raffle off 75. I might raffle off a 75 slot.
That's fair. Did the Wow, can't even say my own words.
Makarok?
Canon stuff get chosen yet? The deities have been up for a while, and I believe the locations are up. We're picking up the NPCs and getting those sorted out.
I think the locations are up.
Locations are up. We
Okay.
got them up for last month.
Okay. The NPCs have been vetted and they're fine. I don't think there's anyone being cut from the NPC list.
We just have to do the writing editing pass.
We have to do a writing editing pass on them, and then basically the small group of people who are picking, because team-wide votes take a very long time, group-wide votes take an even longer time, so there is a small group that's like picking. They need to vote on the top 3 for the prizes.
Mm-hmm. All the locations are up. The top 3 haven't been picked, which is why super duper prize packs haven't been out. Aiming for the April news for that.
Exactly.
April news. Wow.
We're hoping for the April news to get that one cleaned up, but the canon locations are up, so if you see the canon location, you can use it as of this point in time. Like, it's usable. We just have to pick the winners. And you guys don't make this easy in any way at all. No.
You guys come up with the best stuff.
I love what comes up, but very stupidly, not thinking about it, I put an entry into the canon location contest. I put 2 in this year, or this region, so I can't vote on winners, and it's been delegating it off to somebody else.
Mm-hmm.
And that means also, like, Dunn shouldn't be voting on the winners.
Yeah.
So, we're on it, hopefully by the start of April, and then we'll be nice and clean slated for going into Fosbury late April.
And hopefully this new schedule will let us keep that more on track than it has been.
Exactly.
Does Dino Prey mean we might get Dino companions, or at least potential dios? Wow.
Dinos?
Dinos for the Nagruk charm.
You mean like the Parasaur?
Yeah. I mean, we can definitely, I don't know about you, but I want a T-Rex for Leica, please.
Mm-hmm. We might get ourselves a little more dino companions.
We've got some more extinct animals coming, but not necessarily dinosaurs, if that makes sense.
In World Tour, we have a few more extinct animals coming around, but not necessarily dinosaurs coming. But if we know that you want it, then we can talk about it. That being said, we all know that the first dino that got made for that sale
Had a very strict
has a very strict no sale policy. We weren't supposed to reuse it at all. It wasn't future proofed. It was never my idea. I will not claim ownership of that one.
But the Parasaur will come back around.
But the Parasaur will come back around, and likely the Parasaur will get a couple friends over the years, which will be much more accessible for people to get. Mm-hmm.
As for the Nagruk's charm, I guess I'll do my own spoiler, shock and awe. We will have probably in August with Nagi's new holiday. We'll have another Nagi charm contest for prey animals, which would include the raptor at that point.
Yes. Another Nagi one coming in for... If you haven't figured it out yet, each one of these events is linked to a deity in some way.
Oh, did we not say that?
If they hadn't figured it out yet. Nagis will come in August. Nagis will be a tribe-based event. So, be honest.
Throwing his Hot Wheel out of the crib.
Just leave him be, man.
Okay.
This is supposed to be quiet time.
Okay.
So at that point, the Nagi charm, as Don said, will be for prey animals. And at that point, that means things like these little raptors right here would be viable to make. Yeah. It'll be pretty cool. I have a fun idea in my head. I just have to figure out if I can code it. The answer is I can probably code it. But can I code it without murdering the site?
I mean, I feel like the item updates are already having an impact on the site, even though we're still trying to recover from the start of the month.
Yes, the item impacts are having a back-end impact on the site. I don't know if you all see it, but I see it on just the processing power is down because we don't have to do a crazy manipulation every time. All right. Any other questions on Fosphere? Done.
I'm sorry, I'm keeping up with DMs too. Nope, no more questions. Looks like we're good.
Okay. So with that,
On to the hefty part of this.
we're going to go on to the hefty part of this, and we are going to talk about how we make our decisions on art theft, specifically design theft. And I've talked to most of the managers about it. A bunch of admins brought up points as well, the people who have been doing this for years. And we're going to talk about what is and what isn't in the eyes of Tokotas. There will be many other sites with many other definitions about what is and what isn't, but what is relevant to what we're doing and what we're talking about right now is Tokotas. And this is the best baseline that we could make that we felt was as fair and as protecting as we could make it. And I'm pretty happy with our policy overall.
Yep.
All right. So first things first, we're going to talk about standard art theft. We all know what standard art theft is. And if you don't, I'm not sure how you're on DeviantArt. But
don't take other people's art.
No. You cannot take someone else's art, post it up, and claim it as your own. That is art theft. It seems like it's a simple concept, but we've learned that it's the uncommon sense of art theft. If I drew an apple and Dunn puts the apple up on her DA and says, look at this apple I drew, that is art theft. Okay?
So we all know that.
We all agree that. During this conversation, we will not be talking about photo manips. Photo manips are not inherently art theft at all. We don't believe that. We have a whole set of rules for it. Photo manips are sometimes called photo bashing, which is a professional technique of putting different photos together to create textures and such. It's complicated. It's so complicated that while I'm talking about it right now, this is about as in-depth as we're going to go on it because it deserves its own conversation so we could explain the difference between art theft and a proper photo manip. We're not going to talk about that today. We are going to talk about specifically Toko designs, but we've heard that there is some interest in where we draw our lines on that. And I said, if that's the case, then at a later point this year, we can have another one of these where we go over photo manips and tell you where Toko's stands on it. And keeping in mind that photo manipulations are very much allowed in Tokos. Go read our rules about it. I think we ask for a little more than most as far as photo manips go, but we do allow them. Mm-hmm. Okay? Cool. Let me see. And what other thing do I have on here? Oh, yes. And this is just another uncommon sense of art theft that we'll go over real quick. HP sheets can't be used for activities. Yeah, I know that sounds like no duh, Jill. Yes, I know no duh. But at the same time, we're going to have to reiterate it again. You can't use an HP sheet for activities. Activities requires 100% original artwork. If you make a background and you use it 20 times, that's 19 backgrounds you didn't have to draw versus other people who drew 20 backgrounds. It's not fair. You need to draw it again. It can be a similar background. You can make 20 mountainous backgrounds, but you can't just reuse a background. And you can't it's the same way that you got rewarded for like this HP sheet when you made it. You can't get double rewarded. We don't allow double dipping except for very few small cases, which we spell out you can.
Like, you can't use an image for an ROD and then go take it to be activity rolled.
Exactly. It was used for your rights of dominance. Can't use it over here anymore. It doesn't also get to be a caving where you happen to be at the soul pool. Mm-hmm. Right? Again, uncommon sense. HP sheets cannot be used for it. It does happen. Most of the time we find it's people who
are kind of new to the scene.
Are very new to the scene. And don't know better. The biggest bits of confusion that we have are honestly designs and what you can and can't do with the design line edits and markings in general. This is where we see a lot of problems, and honestly, it's our biggest art theft issues throughout the years. Yeah, these days. Most times, the rest of it is really easy to do, and we've had a lot of problems and people just saying, well, I don't understand what you're talking about. This is completely legal. And I'm like, no, it's not.
It's not.
Our rules say it's not, so we're going to go over in detail what we're talking about when we're saying that. So, from there, why does Tokotas protect designs and imports, etc.? The reasoning behind this is art. It is art made by multiple people, but it's still art. We'll start with, uploading off-site. We get a lot of flack for this because we have really strict rules against uploading off-site. I know other games, other ARPGs allow it, and that's their right. They can allow it. We don't. Sites like Toy House and Facebook, especially, we don't like to see it up there. And here's the thing. Flight Rising doesn't care where you put the dragon art, for the most part, because it's a standardized piece of line art. It's a standardized color. It's a standardized markings and all of that's on there. It's 100% standard because it's not an ARPG. It's just a piece of generated art. They can very easily prove it was theirs and move on. We have 50,000 tokos that all look a little different. It's not so easy for us to police what's real and what's not real. If somebody took our line art, designed something crazy, and tossed it up on another site, we don't actually know if that's one of our tokos or if that's something you made, which is why it's a no. Like, you can't take our line art and you can't use it somewhere else. It's only to be used here. It stops other ARPGs from trying to lift our line art and use it, which has happened. More often than not, whoa, this is so sad. We have had quite a few times somebody notes us on DA and goes, hey, I bought this toko on Toy House. I spent $80 on it. And I want you to put it in my name now on DA. For us to turn around and go, no, you didn't. Because ownership in our game is 100% on Tokota. If it wasn't transferred to you on Tokota, it doesn't count. And in these situations, what we will find is the person they bought it off isn't even the person who uploaded it. There's like 5 or 6 people back. Somebody uploaded this and sold it, never updated the ownership to us, and it's just been passed along. And then somebody comes back to us and is like, but what do you mean I can't have my toko? I just spent all this money. And our answer is, you better go get a refund. And it's not even the person that they sold it to that did the wrong thing, because they also may not have known about tokos along the way. And that is a huge problem we have with Toy House. And Toy House does not respond well to takedown requests, which usually means we have to go to the player involved and ban them from the game until they take things down. And it's not fun. We don't enjoy doing it, but we do it because it protects people from getting scammed out of money. And it's happened so many times, it's why we're so venomous. We also have huge issues with Facebook. What people will do is they will go and swipe like 30 imports, they'll post them up on Facebook, and then they'll sell them off as original characters. And at that point, they're gone. And these people think that they have this art. They took your art and sold it for a profit. That's what happens. That's why you don't get to upload your art anywhere else, because other people have done this. And Facebook is a pill about getting these taken down. Facebook tells me I have to go and ask them to do it myself first. And that usually means that I spend my afternoon getting cussed out by someone who stole art. It's not fun. At which point, I have to screenshot that, go to Facebook, and then it's just a whole mess of people getting put in Facebook jail.
I'm so sorry.
Well, it's a real thing. The last time I had to go tell someone to do that, she cussed me out on Facebook for 15 minutes until I blocked her to stop her from sending me any more messages. Guess what? She got a ban. Yeah. Not acceptable.
It's you using your imports on Wix isn't what that rule is there for.
Yeah.
But you putting it on Wix makes it vulnerable to things like Pinterest, where people just like, oh, I like that and add that. You can't take down Pinterest as much as we try, man.
Yeah, we've tried, but Pinterest is like, no, you can't do that.
Yeah.
And we can't turn off, we can't even turn off sharing on Pinterest on our stuff. We have no choice on that. DA forces it. So the rule doesn't exist because we don't want you to put your imports up on your Wix. It doesn't exist because we don't want you to put your imports up in your Google Sheets. It doesn't exist because we don't want you to be able to share your art. It exists to protect you and all of the other artists from people stealing their art and selling it. Yeah, it sucks. That being said, you can report as a Pinterest one if you want, but honestly, Pinterest won't do anything about it.
Yeah. Toy House, we at least have an email where we can be like, hey,
yeah,
ticket system where we can have, how many tickets do we have sitting open with them? Like 50?
I think it's closer to 60, maybe like 63 tickets I have. That person probably hates me every time they open that ticket window. I get it, they have one dev. That being said, make a way for me to do it that's not annoying for you. Yeah.
Oh, our connection's flickering.
Light's not flickering.
Alright, I think it's back. Actually, since we're talking about NFTs,
yeah, okay, I'll do the NFT policy right before I ask for questions.
Okay.
Tokos has an NFT policy. Not for Tokos. We don't do NFTs. We will not make NFTs. You cannot make an NFT of your import. It's just no. No NFTs. And I've already harassed OpenSeas. They know my email at this point. They don't want to hear from me. Thanks to Locke for finally helping us figure out a way to get all of those down the first time it happened.
Praise Locke.
If you spot something on OpenSeas, email me, because I'm going to email them, and they will just be like, ugh, this person. Because I don't stop emailing them till it goes down. I know how annoying it is to get an email twice a day about the same thing that you said you would get to next week. So I keep it up. Yes. So there's no NFTs in Tokos at all. We have no interest in it. NFTs just creates ways for artists to get ripped off and stolen from constantly. And we just went through a whole spiel about how you can't put it on a toy house to protect you from that. So that means...
If you see one, note us and we'll take it down. We will go be a pain.
We will go and be a pain and get it taken down. So with that being said, if you have questions about offsite uploads, NFTs again, and what our policy is, we'll probably add that to our rule book so that people don't have to come and ask us constantly. We're just an absolute no-go on them. Mm-hmm. But anything in what I've talked about so far, before we get into the specifics of designs, go ahead and ask your questions.
So we've got one already. How does someone go about reporting imports on Toy House? Just note the group, the upload?
Yes, just note the group, the upload.
They have a site tickets thing that we go into, and I think because we are specifically Jill, because Jill is ownership of this group, the account that it's originally uploaded from, it's supposed to get taken properly seriously.
Yeah, it's supposed to get taken seriously. But I have a wonderful team of admins, and they will find everything and anything as far as connections go. You stand no chance. So they'll swarm and discover where it originally got uploaded, who did it, and most of the time we can connect it to a player pretty quick.
And then just have the player take it down.
And then we note the player and have the player take it down. But if you spot one on Toy House, just come and let us know. If somebody takes it down at the first ask, that's the end of it. Like, literally, that's the end of it. We don't even hand out warnings because plenty of people didn't read the rule book. So for first infraction, we just say, hey, take that down. And if it gets taken down, cool. We don't even, it's not a warning. It's not a strike against you. If you fight with us about it, it becomes an issue. Next one.
Don't see anybody typing, so...
Okay. Well, hopefully that finally explains to people why we are such hard asses about the offsite uploads, and it actually has very little to do with the common player who just wants to have fun with their art. All right. Okay. Here's where it gets a little more crazy. I have a lot of bullet points from people. And so let's talk about it. First thing we're going to talk about is manipulating the imports. And that actually manipulating imports is really just not okay. We're not talking about when somebody makes a custom tail. I see how it technically is, but it's not what we're talking about. Once something is up on Totem Spirit, we're talking about after that point, where something has gone up, it's been approved, and it's on Totem Spirit. You can't manipulate the import and take pieces of it. And that's any of our imports, and that's also any of our items, too. Like, you don't actually have the rights to do that. We don't let you. We have to protect our copyrights. And this means, everything that... Okay, disclaimer. Everything that I am saying is something that has happened. I am not showing any examples of these things right now, because I'm not going to out anybody who made a mistake or didn't realize. Some people maybe were a little more malicious than that, but the point is we're not going to name any names, but every situation that examples I'm giving is a situation that has happened, and this is, where this comes from. Okay?
It's happened enough.
Yeah.
It's
Exactly.
not a hypothetical.
Yeah, a lot to basically all of these examples are not hypotheticals, but I'm not giving names. I'm not saying X did Y. That's not the goal of this. We're not shaming anybody. We are giving examples for the people who didn't know that's what that meant. It happens a ton, enough that we're having this podcast. All right? So if you hear something and you go, I did that, I'm not calling you out. You're just the example I ended up using. You're probably not the only person that's ever done this. So you and maybe 2 or 3 other people are sitting there going, I did that. Is she talking about me? No. I'm just talking about a situation. I'm not talking about you guys specifically. And I was very careful to, what we had is Dunn went and looked up the examples and then wrote the examples for me with no names so that they wouldn't even be fresh in my head. So there was no chance that I would slip and tell anybody. Okay? Cool. That's my disclaimer. Because we're not trying to shame people. So manipulating the import means when an import goes up, taking part of it and using it somewhere else. This can include like morphing markings of an import onto something. So let's say I have a really cool looking barring on my Toko. Whether I drew it or not, I take that marking off of the import. I cut it off of the import and I put it on an activity roll and then bend it over the shape of the Toko. That's art theft. Even if I drew it, but most of the time this happens when they didn't. That's art theft. You took someone else's art and you claimed it as your own. If I take the cut out shape of a Toko's head and I put it on my activity roll and then draw in the rest of the Toko, that's art theft. I didn't draw that Toko's head at all. Doing anything like that is art theft, and this includes the deities. A few times we have discovered this person draw like Milanik. Like, wow, that's a really good rendition of Milanik. Yeah, especially if you put the import overlaid on it and you see the lines match up. That's art theft. It's not okay. You actually can't do that. And we as a group, Tokos is not art snobs. We welcome all skill levels into the group, and we love all art that gets done. There's hard rules on the team that if someone sits on the admin team and talks crap about someone's art in any section at all, they sit and they talk crap about how ugly someone's art is because of their lack of skill, I will fire them. You don't get a second chance on that. That's not okay. We welcome all skill levels. So there is literally no reason that you need to go and rip something off of the import and put it into your art to impress us. Because we're thrilled that you're here and that you wanted to draw it to begin with. Okay? So you cannot lift markings. You cannot lift line art and use it in your rights, your bonding, your activities, your standard HP. You can't do it. That's against the rules, and that is art theft. You are claiming art that is not yours as yours. And we've had a lot of situations where that shows up, ripping off pieces of the import and using it somewhere else. It's not okay. I'm going to pause there because that happens enough that I don't know if people have questions, but I want to give it enough focus. Okay, so if you have a question, head on over to the podcast questions, start typing it, and I'll talk about the manipulation of an already uploaded Toko and what you can't do, which is taking bits and pieces of it and using it. And just because you didn't get caught the first time didn't mean it was okay. If you continue to do it for an extended period of time, when we find out, because it always happens, we always find out, it just means that the punishment will fit the time frame. Yes, I know, downer topic. Sorry. We got anyone typing over there done?
We do.
Okay, someone is typing. I'm going to give them a moment to type.
And to clarify, this does count for the item art as well, because again, that was done by somebody else.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Item art also counts in that. You can't take, like, the bonding badge and stick it on your image in the wall and be like, oh, but that's that. If you drew a rendition of the bonding badge yourself, we would be like, that's amazing. But you can't take our art, stick it on the wall, and, like, tilt it so it looks like it's on the wall.
We've got 2 people typing.
Okay, I'm going to give them a moment to type.
Yes, we should ponder what the heck we're raffling.
Yeah, we should ponder what we're raffling. Did you actually not write me a bullet point about what we're raffling? Oh, crap.
It's down there. Don't worry. It's after the heavy part, so we can straighten it up.
Yeah. The raffle's coming after this conversation topic, guys.
Okay. Does this apply to designing other imports? For example, I'm going to call myself out here a bit. I have a Toko with bear marks. She has an offspring also with bear marks. I wanted I'm so sorry. My tongue is numb.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted the design to resemble each other because they're related with permission from the person who designed the bear marks. Is it illegal? If that is illegal, is it possible to go through DC and fix those bear marks just so I get doinked? If you have permission from the designer, I don't think that is an issue.
No, and that's a point that we're going to make further on, too. Yeah.
We've got a whole nother section of designing Tokos.
Yeah, designing Tokos. This is after it goes up. But what you're talking about, you are saying that you got permission from the designer to reuse a single marking a second time on yours, and you paid for it. That doesn't sound like there's anything shady going on there. You got proper permission from someone. And that means that it's very, very unlikely the designer is suddenly going to show up and be like, hey, someone stole my markings.
Yeah.
Yes, but good question. I'll probably answer it in a little more detail in the next section. Other person still typing?
Yep. Okay. Does this also mean that reusing large items done as like a pack is not allowed? Or that I did myself? For example, reusing a cool eye that I did for one design or a different one?
No,
that's fine.
Completely fair. If somebody makes large items, like a cape or an eye pack, and... Sorry.
An eye pack?
Yeah. I was talking about a pack of eyes, but yeah. So, if somebody has made, like, pre-made decor and they're selling use of it, and their license is, oh, you buy it once and you can use it as many times as you want. No, that doesn't qualify here at all. Because, again, you had the artist permission to do this. They sold it with that intended purpose. It's why you've never seen us crack down or kick somebody for using, like, I think it was No used to have a eye pack.
Like Desert Flora did a bunch of like pre-made braids and flowers. There's Fantasy and like Seer and a Vic and a Ficaris. Like everybody's got all sorts of cool edits for Toko tails and snarls and things. Like no, not at all. Not at all.
And we're not discouraging that market at all. If you want to make pre-made line edits and sell them, get one use only or blanket use after they pay you, cool. Awesome. That doesn't qualify for art theft at all. Because you had the designer's permission. These situations happen, the one I'm, like, the thing I'm thinking of right now was somebody commissioned a ton of different designers, got a bunch of tokos up. Very common. We're not all great artists, Jill included in this. Doesn't design my own tokos beyond albinos, and even then. But, like, they commissioned a ton of different artists, got designs uploaded, and then would go to the import, peel off marking layers, and use them in activity roles or in rights so that they lined up perfectly. They don't have permission to do that. That's got nothing to do with the hat the Toko was wearing. It's very much not using it as it was intended to be used. You making a whole set of Tokos that are all wearing the same cape that you bought off of somebody to put on your Tokos does not qualify. Doesn't qualify at all. We wouldn't bat an eye at that. Now, if you did that and then the designer of the cloak came back and said, hey, I sold them that for a single use. They didn't tell me they were going to use it a ton of times. I would have charged them more. We'll get you and them in contact to see if we can resolve that peacefully, because usually we can. Mm-hmm. And that's not really an issue. That's a miscommunication. Nothing was done with bad intent. Mm-hmm. Okay?
All right. If someone commissions pre-made markings from a designer to be used multiple times, then said commissioner shares that with a few friends, is that all right for whoever the commissioner had shared with you? Sorry, I can't speak today.
Something that you, the person doing your art, and the commissioner should be talking about together. If you want to share it around and you're paying for, best way to say this. When Tokos buys art, we buy it in a work for hire mode. When we buy something, like when we bought that totem off of Kep, she did the art for us, but it's our totem. Kep can't take it and sell prints of that totem somewhere else. Kep can't take it and sell it to another RPG. It belongs to us. Kep is the designer of it. We give her credit as the designer of it. We love it, but it's ours. It belongs to me, and Kep can't go do anything else with it.
We can't go resell that art necessarily.
No, we can't necessarily go resell that art because we didn't make that agreement with Kep to resell that art. Like, we couldn't take it, pull it out of Toko's, and go give it to Rios, right? Like, we couldn't do that. If I am no longer going to be in charge and the game moves to, like, done, then ownership of all that goes to done. It follows the game. So it stays in the game. That's the difference. If you are just commissioning someone to do a design for you, that doesn't mean that you're taking necessarily ownership of their art. It means that you're commissioning them to make you something nice, and it goes up into Tokos. Okay? That's the kind of like the difference. If I commissioned Done to make me 5 different accent layers that I am going to use to go and make designs in the future, well, then that's a conversation between me and Done about if I'm allowed to do that. Done also won't come and report me for doing it, because it's an agreement that we had, and she was paid accordingly, or maybe she gifted it to me because we're friends. Regardless, the agreement was there up front. If you're sharing it with your friends, it's probably polite to let that person know that you intend to do that so they're not confused when they see it floating around.
Like, when they see it come up, they're not like, oh no, did somebody resell? Did somebody steal that from you?
Yeah, did someone just steal that from you? Has someone stolen this? I better go report it. Communication. A lot of that is going to be based on communication. If you're communicating what you actually want this for, then you're going to be fine. And you also have to respect the artist's right on that. If they're like, I don't know, I was selling this to you. I'm not sure I want you to be able to share it around to as many people as you want. But I guess maybe if they paid me $3 each as well, then we could call it a deal. It's communication. Tokos won't get in the middle of that. Will only get involved if the report of theft happens. That being said, if someone comes and reports art theft in bad faith, where I made accent layers and I sold them to Dun, and Dun has been using them on 3 or 4 Tokos, and I go and report it as I only sold it to them to use it on 1, they didn't have permission to do this, and Dun comes back round and says, well, here's proof that I bought them to do exactly this, then the person who reported is in trouble. And they will be in actual trouble, not just, hey, you can't do that, go fix it.
Mm-hmm.
They'll be in actual trouble. If someone reports you for art theft in bad faith, whether you're just doing it to make trouble for you, that person will be the person in trouble, not you. So just come and tell us honestly what's happened. Our first reach out about art theft is always polite. It is always in the form of, hey, this is the problem. Contradict what we know. Tell us why we're wrong, because this is what we think is happening right now, based on the information we have. If you have more information we don't, speak up. Plenty of times you've got, oh, really? Hold on, we need to go back.
And then, 9 times out of 10, oh, that's what they meant. And then it's
done.
It's done.
Okay. So yeah, it's a conversation between you and your commissioner.
Or you and your designer.
You and your designer. Just be upfront and clear about what you want this for, because it's not uncommon and completely fair that if a designer's designing something for one-time use and it goes straight up on Tokos and that's it, it's done, and then they're going to go design another time somewhere else. If you're buying something for multiple uses, they will charge you more. That's their right, because you're going to get more out of it than just one image. Okay? Totally normal. In the world of dealing with business land in Tokos, when we commission something for multi-use or for recolor or for us to do edits on it ourselves or us to print it onto a shirt, we'll get charged more than if we just need a quick watering can to use in gardening. Okay? It's actually very normal, and artists, professional and amateur, deserve to be paid for their time and creations. You deserve to be paid for your time and creations. Dun's over here dying. You okay there?
KH got me good.
Oh no, KH got you real good?
Tips to a successful relationship.
Oh, that was good. Yeah, that was good.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
No, KH is not wrong. Open communication between people usually ends to successful relationships across the board. Okay. I'm going to get into my bullet points now.
Because we'll get into the nitty-gritty of the things.
Okay. So, caveat everything that I'm saying in these bullet points without permission from everyone involved. All of these are without permission from everyone involved, regardless of my point. So, first bullet point was you may not use parts or an entire uploaded toko in your design or your artwork. This would mean there's a toko out there that I see and I super like their accents. I can't go and lift their accents and put it on my design. I can't do that. That's not okay. I didn't ask the designer if I could do it. I didn't ask the owner if I could do that. I can't do that. That is art theft. You've taken someone else's art and said it was your own. That's art theft. If you did not commission it or create it yourself, you may not use marking layers, designs, or edits without the creator and, if commissioner of applicable's permission. You can't do that. One of the situations that comes to mind is, I'm going to use tails. I'm going to use tails as the analogy because this happens with tails. Somebody commissions a tail. So person A goes to designer A and says, hey, I would like you to make me this sort of custom tail.
Our mic just apparently snapped into, functioning.
Did it?
I don't know why.
Yay!
Woo!
Sweet. So sorry, everybody.
So sorry.
I hope it wasn't too much for you. I don't know what happened. I guess the internet connection stabilized or something.
Wow. Okay.
So, that being said, let me go back to my example. Player A commissions designer A to make them a custom long tail. And person B comes along and goes, oh my gosh, that is such a cute tail. I love that. Well, person A can't just use that tail. They didn't pay for it. They don't have permission, or excuse me, person B can't just use it. They don't have permission. They didn't ask. They don't have any rights to use it. What they also can't do is take the tail. Let's say like the PSDs are open and available because someone's just dropping them in comments. Completely normal thing to happen on DA. Person B can't take person A's PSD and go to designer B and say, use this tail. That's art theft.
You also cannot ask, I want this tail. Line over the tail.
Yeah.
Or something to that effect.
Yes, you can't just be like, can you just like trace this into your own lines? No, that's art theft. It's not okay.
No one owns the concept of a long tail on a toko.
No. Person B can go to designer A or designer B and go, hey, I really like the tail off this toko. Can I get a long tail? And both of them, person A or designer A can go, sure. Designer B can go, sure. But neither of them should copy that tail. That's bad. That's stealing someone else's art, someone else's work. Nobody owns the concept of a long tail at all. Both A and B can have long-tailed tokos. Completely fine. They can have similar long tails versus like smooth long tails instead of fluffy long tails or something. But B can't just steal the line art from A and use it. All right? And it's shocking how often that happens. That people do that, and it's just not okay. Yeah, what's the other one that comes up? Do you have the bullet point about original? No, I don't think you do.
I don't think I do. Sorry, there was a lot of bullet points in the conversation.
Yes. So that being said, nobody owns a concept. So let's say this happened like the perfect situation happened, the way it should happen. Player A had a long tail designed by designer A. Player B either asked designer A or designer B, hey, can I get a long tail like this one for my toko? It gets designed and it goes up. Player A cannot report player B for art theft. Player A does not own the concept of a long tail. A more relevant situation that came up was people have noticed that putting like Kirin or unicorn horns on tokos is a trend right now. Cool. That's great. However, some people tried to come and report others as stealing their idea because they put someone else put a horn on it, to which we turned around and went, so you're actually the 5th toko with the horn, not the 1st. So you can't report the 6th toko with the horn as art theft. You don't own the concept, and they don't even really look the same. You can't own a concept. I have a ton of pirate longmanes. I know of other players who have pirate longmanes. We can't report each other for art theft. It's not art theft. Dunn has a ton of werewolf tokos. Somebody new joins the game, they can make werewolf tokos. Here's the difference. They can't go and pick out one of Dunn's werewolf tokos, hand it to a designer and say, recreate this design. That's not okay. There is plenty of overlap between markings, especially when it's MCA, where just naturally some tokos are going to look the same. We cannot police that 2 tokos aren't the exact same color. That's ridiculous. We don't have very big swatches, right? It's ridiculous. And it's very possible that when you only have something like collared, that your toko and another toko with collared are going to look very similar. If I decide if we both have a tawny collared toko, it's possible that I will end up with an orangey tawny with a dark mane, and you could end up with an orangey tawny with a dark mane, and nobody copied anybody. But the more complex the design gets, the less and less likely that it just happened to be happenstance that they look similar, especially when line edits start getting involved. So while Dunn can have a whole thing of werewolf tokos and somebody else can have a whole thing of werewolf tokos, that's fine. But neither one of them could take the design from the other, go to an artist and say, recreate this as close as you can. No, that's art theft. That we have a problem with, and we will make you redesign your toko. We've done it before. We've even found the chain of conversation where they ask someone to do it, and we're like, as a designer, you should not rip off someone else's toko hook, line, and sinker. You shouldn't do it. It's not okay. You're stealing from the original artist and the person who paid for it. And they may be the same person, they may not. All right? So that's not okay. And as I said, the more complicated a toko gets, the more obvious it is when that happens. I can't say that we have a hard line on it, but when they're common generic markings, there's only, when you have very few common generic markings, there's only so many variations. And there are tons of tokos out there that are piebald with a spot above their eye, okay? There's hundreds.
Don't come at my activity tokos like that.
There's hundreds of them. That's not art theft. If there's one who's got custom ears and then another one goes up with the same custom ears via overlay, that's art theft. Okay, I'm going to pause there to ask for some more questions before I move on to the next bullet points. Oh, I see, like, walls.
Vic has a very specific kind of question. I'm trying to determine if this is too specific for the podcast and might need to go to a note.
Oh, okay.
Give me a minute. I've got to read it.
Yep. All right, Dunn's reading those. Let me see. Let me check my bullet points. Even when you commission it, okay, even when you commission a design, you may not reuse marking layers, designs, or edits without the creditor's permission. Yeah, we talked about that before. So of course you can do it if you have their permission. Whereas, like, someone asked, well, I bought like these layers to use on my own designs. Yeah, as long as you have their permission, it's fine. You may not.
Okay, this is probably fine.
All right, go for it. Read
Sorry.
it aloud.
Our mic has gone out again, apparently.
Dang it!
So I was close friends with my designer. They showed me designs they were making for other people. They showed me some item art, and I said, that looks rad AF. For my one kid that I've already paid for a design, and you're cute, could you do some bone edits? I like those. They look very cool. They came back with the design. I was worried they looked very similar, even though there were obvious differences, but it was the same concept type thing. I remember when I used to BDC, someone once asked for edits specifically like that and got in trouble. However, I was just asking broadly for bone edits. Is this theft? Would I get in trouble? Would the designer get in trouble? It's kind of, how close is it? Is it like they took the same sketch and relined it twice?
Yeah, that's gonna be the line is. Did they draw you a whole new set, but there's only so many ways you make a pirate hat, right? There's only so many ways. Did they basically take and recolor that pirate hat? Or did they redraw that pirate hat for you? If they redrew that pirate hat for you, okay. Did they redraw the cloak for you? Okay. But again, there's only so many ways. If they just relined a sketch, that's a little sus.
It's a little borderline, but
we would need to look at it. We'd honestly need to look at it and see. But in a situation like that, you're saying, hey, can I get similar edits? That's okay. Like, what you asked for is not against the rules at all, and it's not something. We would follow the thread of this back to the beginning, and we would go, they didn't ask to be traced. That's not what they asked for. They didn't say, can you just use this person's line edits? The receipts would say otherwise. Yeah. And therefore, we would not put any malicious intent on what you did.
Yeah, the situations that we are referencing were cases that very specifically someone took either a PSD or somebody else's import and was like, I want exactly that.
Exactly. These were very specific, and we could follow those threads and prove it. And both the artist who did it and the commissioner got in trouble in those situations because they stole someone else's lines.
In your situation, if you're worried that you're going to retroactively get in trouble for it, it's if your person B and your person B with the things. If person A never says anything, we're not going to come bother you.
Yeah, we're likely not going to come and bother you about it because clearly it didn't bother person A.
Mm-hmm.
Right? We check in DC really well, but keep in mind, admins are some of the most active Toko players, period. They are. They got half of the issue of getting on the team is if we've never seen you and we don't know if you're active, we're not.
How long have you been? Do you know how the game runs?
Do you actually know how the game runs before we give you a shot? So, more often than not, the admin members are some of the most active members in the game, in one way or another. Which means they see all the Tokos that come through. They keep up on it. They're buying slots. They're looking at cool things all the time. You get caught because we also play the game. We don't do admin work in a vacuum. We saw that really rad Toko that went up 4,000 IDs ago as well. But if it's not close enough to, bring the designer to our notes, it's not close enough to bring the commissioner to our notes, and it wasn't close enough to ping DC about it, like when they were judging it, it's probably okay. The more relevant ones we see when that happens is somebody stealing an accent layer and using it. That might slip through DC's notice, but you're going to get in trouble when we catch it.
Yeah, like, you steal an accent layer, you might not get caught, but if you keep doing it and you steal very distinctive Merle patterning, that we all go like, I've seen that before.
Yeah, and it wasn't this designer.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, designing a Toko by stealing various markings off of other Tokos is not okay. That feels like common sense, but apparently it's not.
We see it a lot with newer players who, I guess, don't know any better.
Mm-hmm.
We're trying to figure out a way to make it very clear and obvious. So part of the bullet points of this will probably go into the design rules.
Exactly.
And probably need, to redo the newbie design guide thing.
Exactly. So looking at it like this, if you look at it like this, I can't Frankenstein other people's designs together to make a design. That's not okay. We catch it because when people do that, they also tend to take really nice designs that people remember and have seen.
And any of us who've been around Tokos for a while, we can recognize an Athalia design at a glance, or a Kep design, or a Tina design.
Or a Lock design.
Like, we recognize people's styles. Everyone has a unique style.
And when someone shows up with 3 people's kind of unique styles on their one Toko, and what I guess people also don't realize is that lots of people go through DC. Not just admins. Lots of people go.
Love people watching.
Yeah, they love to go in and see, who's designed what. And more often than not, before that even makes it to the front of the queue, the designer has noted it and said, hey, this person's taken my marking layers. Because designers keep an eye on it. They're doing right by themselves and protecting what they've made. We will, of course, verify that. And there's been a couple false alarms where someone goes, hey, I feel like this is mine, and they just blurred the edges. And we'll go and we will have multiple people look at it. We will have not amazing artists like me doing overlays to see how I think about it. We'll have much more technical professional artists take a look at it as well. And we will take all of those opinions and form a decision from there. It's usually not a one person makes the decision and that's that. Whenever this comes back to somebody, multiple people have looked at this and agreed.
At minimum, it's usually the entire manager team and the entire DC team.
Exactly.
At minimum.
And yeah, and that's really only super contentious things where we're not sure. An agreement has come in. And we're good at this. we've done this. You're not doing anything we haven't thought of before. Like, we catch it every single time. Now, sometimes we've been stupid and it's taken us 3 years to catch something, but it did get caught. Someone did come and say,
Just very belated.
hey, so I've only ever done like one thing for them and then realized this. It's the same thing when there was someone who was, they thought they were so smart. They wrote 5 stories and they just reused those 5 stories every time.
We all have to read them. You might get through activities doing that because it's a different activity admin who gets it every time. But HU is a very small department.
Mm-hmm.
And they'll be like, I read this.
And in that situation, it wasn't even an admin that caught them. It was someone someone who had commissioned them, who came to us and told us. And then we went and looked and discovered they'd been doing it for 3 months, and they had just gotten so lucky that we had a bunch of different activity admins and people in from other sections also reading stories that they had just slid under the wire. And they got in trouble. That is also art theft. It's, I guess, more like literature theft, but it's also art theft.
Literature is art.
Yeah, it is. So, yeah. That's how that goes. You mean, all right. Let me see what else is on my list. You may not trace uploaded Toko markings. I just talked about that. No Frankensteining them together. You may not commission design to look like an existing Toko. I've gone through that. We talked about that. Okay, actually, I think that's it. That's all I had. Is there any other points?
Your rambling covered that very well.
Yeah, my rambling did cover that. I apologize for that not awesome section of a Toko's podcast, but we wanted to give some explanation of the lines that we are using to make these determinations. If you are sitting here and you realize you have done one of the things that I said was not okay, it was art theft, and maybe it was a language barrier, maybe you did it 3 years ago when you were 13 and you really didn't think about how it was theft because we're all young and dumb at some point, and you're like, oh my gosh, I have done this, I'm a terrible person. Calm down. Note us. Just note us. We will work with you and correct the situation, and that will be that. You will not be thrown out of Tokos. You will not be banned. You will not be publicly shamed. If you listen to this and went, I have done this, and you are a decent human being and feel remorseful about it, just note us. Because if you feel remorseful, then you probably didn't have a malicious intent behind it at all. And that really does matter to the team when we're dealing with situations like this. What your intentions were does matter. So we will just note us. You can note us on Totem Spirit. You can note us on the main Tokotas group. And we will handle it. People make mistakes. Nothing is unforgivable in the form of what's going on in the Toko's ARPG. All right? So calm down. Nobody will be mad at you. And we don't keep a public blacklist in any way. We don't even have a private blacklist of things like that going on. So we aren't going to drag you out in front of Toko's for a court of your peers. We will just handle the problem and get it resolved as quickly and as cleanly as we can. Okay? Cool. Questions? Yeah. No bells and someone yelling shame. It's not going to happen.
Unless it's me messing up a form in admin chat.
Yeah. Well, that's totally different than art theft, okay? People typing?
Would help. Yes, there's people typing.
Okay, I'm going to give them a moment to type. As you guys are typing, we have reached the much more fun part of this podcast raffle.
I thought we had a podcast raffle channel, but I'm not seeing it.
Did we move it?
It's not in this section. Where did it go?
You're asking the wrong person. A lot happens. We probably just use the normal raffle channel because...
No, it's here. This is a question for very few people, but I think you can answer it. If you were commissioned for item art eons ago or at any point, what are your policies on artists using item art in a portfolio work now? believe most of our artists will use our stuff in portfolios. I know Spam's got a lot of the old totems in hers.
We are 100% good with using your stuff as portfolio. Put it up as a portfolio. If you're putting it on DA, please make sure to link to Tokos so people know it was commissioned and they don't try and do anything. You can't sell prints of it, and you can't sell it to another game, but you can, of course, put it up as portfolio work. And if you've done item art for us that we're still using, also please feel free to use us as a reference. Like, send them to, we have emails. Like, you can contact us and we'll give you which email. The ones that I regularly check, because I think I'm the one who checks most of our emails. But if you're like an artist and you want to be like, oh, yes, I've done a ton of game-related art and such for these people, yeah. Make sure I know your name, and I'll tell you what email to use so that they can email us, and we will happily be a reference if we paid you to do art.
And what she means by know your name, know what to call you to these people.
Yes. I need to know if your name is Sarah, so if they call me about Sarah Smith, I'm not like...
That looks like Kep's art,
That
but...
kind of looks like Kep's art. But is this Kep? I'm not sure. So we will happily be a reference. You can definitely use your art for portfolio. You just can't sell prints, and you can't sell it to somebody else. And I'm going to say this again, just in case. If you did Toko art in an era before Jill took over paying the artists and did not get paid, please contact me. Please do. Like, I still clean up those messes at this point.
You should be appropriately paid.
You should always be appropriately paid for your work. If you did it in a No or Morgan era, or even in that weird transition where people didn't realize they were supposed to be paying for things that Morgan was commissioning because Morgan hadn't explained it to people, just come note us. I have to ask you like 3 questions for the sake of doing due diligence. I'm not accusing you. And I will work this out with you, and we will get you fixed and paid. So if we're using art that you didn't get paid for, I am not aware you didn't get paid for it. So just come and tell me.
And we want to make sure you have been paid.
Yes, we want to make sure that you get paid. We want to fix that problem. We are not aware of it. That is the only reason that we haven't fixed it.
Also, Kep is joking, or, well, Cage and Kep are joking about padding resume with Tokos, and that's so not a joke. I don't know how many, like, reference things you've written.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, I've been on so many people's resumes for Tokos, and usually I'll sit there, many admins have been like, I don't have any job experience. I'm like, you work for Tokos for 3 years. It's volunteer work, but it's still work.
You know how to use a spreadsheet like a machine at this point.
Yeah. Yep. See? Diska's got me on there. Oh yeah, Cage isn't joking. There's tons of people who have Tokos on their resume who work on the admin team because it is a job. You might not be getting paid cold hard cash. Can't pay your bills with it, but you can feed your hobby with it.
All right, we got questions.
Perfect.
What if you bought an already uploaded Toko, like, say, months ago, and when you recently opened the PSD you were sent, you saw an import that had been saved into the PSD and likely used to copy a marking, like the import was made semi-transparent and the marking lines up enough to make you suspicious, but you didn't realize this when you bought it, if that makes any sense. If you bought something, you're not the one in trouble. It's kind of the same with, like, oversold slots. If you didn't oversell, you're not the one in trouble.
Yeah. Bring it to our attention.
And we'll reach out. Sometimes things like that, like, it may have been the one that's on there was the designer's previous design for, like, a parent. That's not the weirdest thing to make family resemblances. We have to look at all the pieces to figure it out.
Yeah, we can't look at it in the context of just what you found. We will need to do an investigation to see if there was any wrongdoing there, because we can see who the designer was, we can see other things that they've designed, and we can go from there. But yeah, if you're sus on that, because that does sound like something I would completely understand being suspicious. That's not staring at something going, I feel like I've seen that before, I'm gonna go report it. That's not that. This is I opened a PSD and found a semi-transparent marking from another design.
Yeah. Like, we all open PSDs and there'll be, like, a parent in a small thumbnail form that was probably color picked from. Like, we all see those.
That's not weird. I can understand why you feel that way. If you feel strongly about it, note us, and we will do an investigation and sort it out from there. But you're not going to be in trouble because you didn't do anything.
Okay, next one. If you do a design commission for another user that includes some line art edits, can you, as the artist who created it, reuse line art edits for your own or other tokos, or does it depend on the details of the original deal? Something like a braid or hair coif or specific set of items. I think that kind of comes down to communicate with your commissioner.
Yeah, communicate with them. I have found most of the time in tokos, everyone is completely chill with allowing it to be used elsewhere. Where you're like, hey, I've made these braids. I really like them. I'm going to go use them elsewhere. And if your commissioner is like, okay, whatever, cool. That's my response to that, like, almost every time. There's very few times. I think I get more hung up about, like, hand paints. If someone makes me, like, a rose hand paint, I'll be like, I would like to keep that. Let me pay you an extra $5 to use it as I want and not for you. But that falls into communication. Just go make sure it's okay.
Yeah, like, personally, like, okay, so I've got Leica, who's a very beloved toko with pretty line edits, and it's a character for me. Like, if Cray was to take the Leica line edits, I might be like, but Cray, no.
Exactly.
But for, like, the snarls Cray's made for me in the past, I don't really mind if she wants to reuse them.
Yeah, I think it will be very important to how generic it is, you know, and that's a conversation to go and have with someone about it. And that's what I would suggest that you do. If all artists should have a terms of service where you can state things like that, like, hey, I'm going to, I'll make things for you, but any, like, braids I use, I may have used on other designs before and I may use in the future, rather than customizing. And if you want me to original something, maybe you upcharge that. Like, that's not weird. It's not abnormal. Just, go talk about it. I know plenty of artists who have, like, standard eye packs, standard ear edits, standard claw edits. And when I bought it, I didn't think they were mine and only mine, because they've used them before. Mm-hmm. All right.
Cray's starting to go make a look-alike.
I saw that. Other questions, my dear?
Oh, I'm so sorry. For the earlier question, which account would you note this? The main Tokos group is the best one to go to because we can all see that no matter if we're on our personal accounts or not. If you want a little bit more restricted, do Totem.
Yeah, do Totem. So if you don't care,
it gets checked less frequently.
Immediate response, or at least within a week, is usually the Tokotas group. If you need that privacy, go to Totem Spirit. Okay? All right. I think I'm going to kick off the raffle.
Okay, I guess we're doing a 75 slot.
Sure.
Okay.
What? Do you not want me to do a 75 slot? Do you have a better prize in mind?
No, that's actually a pretty good prize.
Okay, that's what I thought.
Okay, but what if we did a 75 slot, maybe like 2 Abandos or something? So there's 3 winners.
All right.
We've got how many people sitting here?
Like 50? 48? Okay, we can do 3 winners. Grand prize will be a 75% slot, and then...
Are we doing a choice, or do you want me to pick one of these?
I mean, are those in...
They are not in slot tiers right now.
They're not in slot tiers. Pick one.
I'm going to pick my low-key favorite.
Okay.
Do you need me to link this at you?
Yeah. At least go link it into the raffle channel or something so people know. Okay, so we're going to do a raffle. The raffle will have a slot to who?
A knock.
A knock? Okay, we'll have a slot.
AF1.
AF1 in it. And the 2 runner-ups will get an abandoned pup of their choice. As in, you can ask for a Togo, Togi, Dakino, or any of our abandos that are up there. So you can have an abandoned pup, the type of your choice. All right?
What are we making them do?
So for this, because we've been talking about designs and how cool designs are and all that, I would like you to link your favorite Toko design into the raffle.
It can be one you did, one that you just saw, your own personal Toko, someone else's Toko.
Exactly. Just your favorite design out there. And you are going to have the next 20 minutes to do that. Was that fair?
Yeah, because I think that's about what we'll take to go through the charity fund. When we are done with the next 2 sections, we will roll the raffle, which should be about 20 minutes.
Exactly. That being said, done. Can you go release a Tav? I can hear him crying.
I can go do such a thing. Are we going to be able to do this with the Tav?
I don't think we have a choice. He is crying.
Is he crying? I'll go check.
Go check. I thought I heard him crying a moment ago.
I'll start the next bit without me.
I won't start the next bit without you.
Everybody's reaction.
Okay, relax. Sorry, Dun's checking on the Tav. He's up from his nap, his 30 minutes of nap. So I apologize, you're probably going to have some child sounds running around. We're a completely professional operation here, okay? We have children. Alright, so... I'm not going to show anything for the next section yet, but we will start talking about it. We have decided that we are not going to do a charity fundraiser in June. We do that sale charity fundraiser for our anniversary. We started this tradition last year.
He's fussing, but he's asleep.
Oh, okay. Sweet. Last year we did the Trevor Project, but this year okay, people are probably panicking because I think I just said that terribly. We're not doing it in June because we're doing it in April. Cool? We're not doing it in June because we are doing it in April.
And the reason why is because it's needed now.
Exactly. Last year we did the Trevor Project, and it was Pride Month. It was amazing. We raised so much money. It was awesome.
We kind of shocked our parents who do their own fundraiser things, where they were like, you did what? Your little game did what?
Yeah, we outdid both of our parents on it, where they were just like, excuse me, you raised how much more money than us? And I was like, I didn't realize it was a competition, but I'm pretty satisfied that we won. So the reason that we're not doing it in June is because we're going to do it in April. However, we did just have a digital sale, so we don't want to do an overload of a USD sale. We also don't need your money. So we're splitting this up a bit. What I'm going to talk about next is going to be our charity fundraiser, where 100% is going to go to the charity. We are not going to make any money off of it at all. That's not our goal. 100% will go directly to the charity. And later this year, we will have a sale of some variety in October or November, and I'll go over that second. First, I want to talk about the charity fundraiser. Allow me to disclaimer, with Tokos does not take political stances, usually. We have a fairly decent moral compass on what we think is good and what we think is bad, but we do not sit down and pick left wing, right wing, anything. We don't get involved in the politics in countries outside of where our base is either. We don't do that, and we're still not. But we are people, and as people, we believe in peace. So we have decided that we would like to support the humanitarian efforts for the Ukraine. And when we say humanitarian, we mean humanitarian. People who are there to help the injured, people who are there to get refugees out and to find them safe housing and home. We are there for humanitarian efforts because we would like peace. We don't want war. We don't support violence in any capacity. So humanitarian. That being said, we're doing our fundraiser early this year so that we can help fund humanitarian efforts in the Ukraine. You can like that, you can dislike that, you are completely allowed to. We are not telling you how to think or to feel, who to love and who to hate. We never have, we won't. We're just telling you what we, as a group, in the admin team, decided we would like to do. and people were given a chance to speak up and tell us reasons we shouldn't do it. We didn't get any. So what we're going to do is we've added an add-on to our store that allows us to donate directly to the charities. We have picked...
Did I write them down for you?
You did. We have picked Doctors Without Borders and the ICRC, which is the International Committee of the Red Cross. Yeah.
Red Cross.
So it's Red Cross and Doctors Without Borders. We have vetted these extensively during the month to ensure that all of the money is going towards humanitarian efforts, and the vast majority of every dollar is going towards that and not operational costs as well. So we have decided on these. That's what we're going to be doing. And in our way, we have created a Blue Skies and Sunflower Fields pack. And for that, what we're going to do is we've added something called Donation Drive onto Tokotas Shop. So you go there, you will purchase, or technically you'll donate money to these charities. It will go directly to them. It will not stop in our bank account. We will not collect anything. We will handle tax that gets involved, but that's it. We'll be covering it via whatever you pay. So if it gets taxed, that's fine. We'll handle paying the tax to the government as we always do, and then the donation will go over your tax won't come out of that donation. You'll go, and then you'll get a redeem code, the same way you would when you're buying any digital good, for the Blue Skies and Sunflower Fields donation pack. All right. So for the fun part of this is, okay, well, what does that mean? Well, the donation pack has a background in it.
At least one.
At least one. Probably two, but it has one done by our lovely Kira here. It's got kind of a fun, surreal feeling to it. Blue skies and sunflower fields that you'll be able to do it. And looks pretty cool here. I absolutely adore this one. So we'll have this as well. We should have one more background coming. It may not. You can use the the pack to put this background on your toko.
We figured out how we're going to do it. You're purchasing an openable to pick between some things.
Okay, thank you, Don. You'll be purchasing an openable that allows you to pick between some things. One of them is being the backgrounds. This is the first background. I absolutely adore this one completely. The first time I saw it, I was like, it's like looking at a painting. So they'll have that. Second will be some decor that you can put on your tokos, done by our amazing Kep. She has made some sunflowers that fit on all the builds. They can go up here at the ears. This one can go anywhere in the mane. It fits on all builds, all manes. It looks really good. Additionally, there's two different hand paints. We have one here with the blue and yellow, and then the lovely big sunflower. The way that these work is you apply the sunflower hand paints to your toko, and that covers them. You don't have to pay any extra decor at all. You just apply the item to your toko, and you can do it in import updates, or you can do it through normal DC, and you'll do this. So when you open the openable, you'll get a choice of the background, or two of the decor items, or one of these new slotless companions, the Nightingale. You'll notice that we have a Nightingale hiding up there in that background as well, but this is the Nightingale. It's a slotless companion that just says you have support for peace, and you'll be able to put that onto your tokos. You making it one of the companions out of the donation as well. I'm going to pause there to give people time to ask questions. I can't speak on anything like political or about the war in general. One, because I'm not qualified, and two, because you deserve to have your own opinions on this and not for me to tell you what to think. Just note.
Oh, we forgot to tell background and the companion are by Kira.
Oh, excuse me. Yes, I said the background was by Kira, but the companion is also by Kira.
We have another background in the works that should hopefully be good before we launch, and I guess if you want to contribute to this, hit us up.
Oh yes, if you want to contribute to this, please hit us up. We're covering the cost of all of the creation of this. We're not taking it out of the the money from the charity at all. So we're paying for the companions, the backgrounds, the decor. If you would like to make something for this pack to support this effort, please contact me. Actually, yeah, I'll allow this. You are allowed to Discord me, but only me, about what you would like to make, and I'll work out arranging payment to you so that we can get it into the pack. That's acceptable.
All right. So these items will be one time only, with possibly no way to obtain them in the future, or will they be in all your donations since we'll go directly to a charity from the store? I think how we're handling this is this will run for the month.
Mm-hmm.
And you can purchase them freely in the store and do the donation. And then in the future, when we do charity things, we will bring our charity section back, which will have all the things. It'll just be directed at our charity of the time.
Mm-hmm.
Like with this thing, we can bring Love for All packs back in June for the Trevor Project very easily, but we can only run one at a time.
Yeah, we can only run one charity at a time, or at least like one group of charities at a time. The add-on that we are using in their free tier, we can only be running one campaign at a time. The campaign can have multiple charities, such as we've picked the Doctors Without Borders and the Red Cross's Ukraine sections. We're using those, but we couldn't run
that in conjunction with another campaign for the Trevor Project and stuff.
Exactly. We can only do like one group at a time. We could put like the Trevor Project in there, but then the money is going to all three of them, and we would really like to focus here. In the future, as Dunn said, whenever we do our anniversary events, we will bring back all of our donation charity packs. So maybe we're donating next year to cancer, but the Sunflower Pack and the Trevor Project will be there in an option for you to pick, even though you're donating to cancer. Okay?
So these won't be forever unobtainable.
Exactly. We don't like forever unattainable. Exclusivity like that is how do I say it? Is a like imposed rarity to force you to spend money. And Tokos doesn't try and force you to spend money ever. Like we appreciate money you spend on us, but it's not the main way you play the game. We're not an online MMO where you have to keep paying a subscription to pay. We're not something like Flight Rising that really wants you to buy premium currency off of us so that we can keep ourselves alive. So we don't need you to pay us money. We figure it out one way or another. These sales help us pay for lots of cool stuff, but this isn't about paying for cool stuff for us. This is about donations. So it'll be 100% to them, and our next time we do one, all of these will be available again.
So, can you get all the items by making multiple donations?
Yes.
This will function just like any other digital good. You can buy 50 of these if you want.
Exactly.
You'll get 50 codes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. If you buy 50, you'll buy 50 codes. These are not limited. It's just like when we did the Love for All pack. These ones will likely be a little more expensive than the Love.
We're putting them at the $5 mark.
I think these are going at the $5 mark. Don't quote me on it just yet. It will be in the news when we release them exactly what the price is. But I'm honestly thinking $4 because we only charge like $2 for Love for All packs or something like that.
That's fair. We'll take a look at it. I was basing that on backgrounds because stones are normally $5, but
that's fair. But these are like charity; they only come around once a year.
Yeah.
So we are working on the actual price of it. We'll get it set, but you can buy as many as you want. These are not limited, and everything in it will be decor based or no bonus. So the Nightingale doesn't have a bonus. It's slotless, meaning you can put it on Tokos without counting against their companion count. All right?
And of course, these are all transferable, so even if you can't donate to a thing, there might be people reselling these for in-game, like where you can pick them up for TT.
Exactly.
Or do art to get them.
Mm-hmm. Same rule as everything else. We would really appreciate that you don't USD resale this particular charity item right now. We would really appreciate that because it's not amazing. But that being said,
we're leaving them transferable
verbal.
so they're accessible to everyone.
So they're accessible. Okay. Any other questions there?
Nope, I think we're good.
Okay. Wonderful. If you have a more private concern on this, you can note Totem Spirit. We will address you as best we can. We're not saying that we're the moral police here and that we know best for everybody.
We're also trying to walk a line to not alienate any of our player base that cannot openly support something like this.
Exactly. We're walking a very fine line. That's why this will be called the Blue Skies and Sunflower Fields Fundraiser. Okay? Okay. Cool. That part's done.
Now for the oddly, possibly more contentious part.
Yeah, I feel like this is actually going to be more contentious. Yeah. All right. So, when we brought up we're not doing a June sale, there was a fair outcry on the admin team that they wanted a sale. And I was like, but we don't need your money. And this is about charity. And they're like, no, we hear you, Jill. Like, that's not the issue. We still want a sale.
We want to buy the
things. I'm like, we can't do it in June. We cannot give us money in February. I mean, yeah, we gave you like double stuff, but still, give us money in February, donate money in April, and then give us money in June. I'm like, that's ridiculous.
Absolutely not.
There's RPGs that do that, and that's not us.
That just exhausts everybody.
It exhausts everyone. But there was enough want for it that I went, okay, I hear what you're saying. Maybe October, November. And that seemed to be an okay answer. So we're talking about that right now. Later this year, October, November area, there will be a TT/USD sale at the end of the year.
The contents not finalized.
Yes, I have not finalized the contents at all. That one probably won't be linked to a charity, so it also means it probably won't be as crazy as our previous ones. When we're doing charity ones, we'll go all out because we know the money isn't going into our bank account. We're not a for-profit game. So that being said, probably won't be as crazy, and we're talking about ways to facilitate those future sales. As you know, we've done a big inventory update, and we just released a whole bunch of new shops, including the Elemental Heart Soulpool shop that's going over really well. And for non-players, admins, we introduced a new shop for them as well to spend their admin tokens. So like we have a whole new shop system that's up and running, and that admin token store is not a secret because we don't hide the fact that that's their currency they get paid in. So, we are looking at this and realized that the USD portion of this sale, we could actually just put up...
No, other way.
Nope, sorry, hold on. The TT portion of the sale, we could just put up in a special sale store where you can just go and spend your TT on the site and get your TT things and you're done. That's it. That simple.
No admin processing, no wait time for you.
No admin processing, no wait time for you. Everything is good and awesome.
You should probably switch the preview to explain how we would do this.
The way that we would do that is by installing limits. The Tribe store, or the TP store, is coming soon. And one of the things it's going to have is limits. Purchase limits that we're going to bake into the site so that you can only buy so many of each thing, regardless of how much TP you are. And they'll be like a monthly reset. The way that the TT sales store will work is we'll just use the same mechanism to do limits, and then you can buy it there, and that's cool, and that's awesome. No admin processing time, and it also means that you don't have to worry about only putting in like one comment at a time, because you know what that's like when we're going through and doing all of this crazy. And holding on to the TT and trying to remember not to spend 3,000, because if you do, you won't have enough for your purchase. They'll get to next week. So that'll be cool.
You should probably explain what's on the screen right now.
Oh, yeah, sorry. What you're seeing on the screen right now is the draft for the Tribe store, and you can see that there is a limits column where we talk about what the limits are and how much it costs. So this is what we are looking at. I think the monthly limits column is the 1, 2, 3, 4, the 5th column in. So we would be using a similar mechanism for this store right here. This is the draft of the the tribe store that's coming. We have a couple more issues to resolve with that. I say issues, decisions to make, code to build, not really issues.
Issues for you.
Issues for me, but not for any of you. There's nothing wrong, it just needs to get done. Before that goes live, I'm hoping mid-April on it. I don't see it happening before the 1st. I got too many things to finalize. I have too many things to finalize.
I don't know, I think we can do it today.
Yeah, okay, you just watch Tab for the rest of the day then.
I can't, I have to go to my parents after this.
Exactly. So, that left us with, okay, what do we do about the USD side of it?
Because there's only 3 people who can handle that.
There's only 3 people in the group that can handle the USD side, because there's only 3 people in the group that have access to the PayPal to send out invoices. It's a lot of admin power to process and add things and invoice things out. I know the last sale, I want to say Pause did like 75% of the processing. I only did like 25% of it, and the 25 I did was exhausting. And then there's handling issues, there's chargebacks, there's a whole bunch of things to go on. I remember we were talking about, we're going to put this new one up into the TT sale into the site, it'll be cool. When an idea occurred, and I'm asking you all not to freak out until you hear the end of what I'm saying, because in my heart, I cringe at the words coming out of my mouth.
I cringed at the words going out of my mouth to say, but couldn't we do?
Yeah, I cringe at it hard. So we're starting this conversation. We want your opinion on this. We very much want your opinion on this, and we want you to understand the difference between what we're doing and what would normally happen with this system. We talked about putting the USD store on Tokotas. There's 2 different ways we could do that. One, we could create all of the different things that you buy inside of our USD shop and then send you a code to redeem them. The problem is, even on USD, we have limits of how much you can buy. Our store does not currently allow limits. There is no way to put limits into it. And we looked at add-ons that allow limiting, but because of what it is and where it is, it's very hard for us to get it. It's really easy, actually, for people to get around them. You just need a different email, and that's not great. We don't want that. We can prevent it to a degree inside of when we're manually processing it, but we know how long that takes. So we're not thrilled with the idea. It's easy for someone to get around. It's a ton of work to build all of that and to get it into the shop the way that it is. And it can only be done by me at this point. Not because my other dads aren't willing to help. It's they don't know how. They've never done any of that setup. So it would be one person manually configuring everything in the USD. And there's a lot of steps that get involved when you're building a digital code redeem. Okay. So we have that. The other is, oh God, like, ugh.
I know.
We institute a sale currency, which would function kind of like, I say kind of, like a premium currency. Don't freak out yet. What we do is we would create a second tab of the online store that we would have for the TT sale, and it would be like the
sale token.
The sale tokens. And then we'd put all the items in there for that. You would go through the USD store to buy the sale tokens, redeem them into your bank, and then go make your purchases there where we can enforce the limits. We would also allow the sale tokens to be like transferable, so I could buy enough sale tokens for Dunn to go and get a mystery Gino herself as well, the same way that people buy things for other people right now. This would very much be designed to be a 1-to-1 ratio, no DA points BS, where like buying something on there is 50 points, but they only sell them in packs of 40, or they always sell them in packs of 60, so you have extra laying around. You're spending more than you need. The goal is very much an exact equivalent exchange on them, and then you would go and spend them over here. If you accidentally buy too many tokens...
The mic. Can you guys still hear her?
Oh, dang, sorry. Can you hear me now? Sorry about that.
Okay, can still hear.
Okay, so, yeah. Okay, so it would be... If you accidentally buy too many sale tokens, we would refund you the difference. We're not looking to keep extra money. These wouldn't be year-round. They would literally exist for you to buy them for the USD sale, spend all of them with nothing left over on the USD sale in the same month or the same 2 weeks, however long we run it, and then they're gone. And they only come back around the next time we have a sale. You would not sit and hoard and hold on to these.
Or spend them throughout the year.
Or anything like that. There would be no...
We don't want Gaia Cash.
We really don't want Gaia Cash, where it's basically the only way you can play the game is with Gaia Cash. We don't want DA points, this weird, annoying thing that we have to purchase just to get super group when we have to spend like $30 extra versus just, it's bleh. Like, we don't want any of that. Like, straight up. And that's why I keep cringing when I say the words premium currency.
Because we all cringed. Because it would make everything as instant as the TT sale, or TT side of this sale. Make it super easy, no reliance on admin work, but at the same time, just principle cringes at it.
Yeah, it's like it would be an intermediate step to do the USD. And of course, if you did something silly where you like bought them on the 5th and then you ended up in the hospital until the next month and couldn't spend them and noted us, we would fix it for you, okay?
We'll just handle the purchase for you.
Yeah, we'll just handle it for you. It's all good. So that's what we're looking at. Please, I'll set up like a feedback channel.
We have a podcast feedback channel.
Oh, we have podcast. Go to the podcast feedback channel. Give me your feedback on that idea. Good, bad, respectful, but tell me what you think.
Yeah. Our goal is not to make this a thing that is used year-round at all.
No, we're just trying to make it easier on anyone. All right, cool. I think that's that.
Yep, we got a question. So if you don't spend them by end of sale or have a few left over, will they be auto-refunded or can we hold on to them for a future sale? You can technically hold on to them. You can notice to have them refunded or spent. That's kind of where we're falling on this.
Yeah, if you really, really want to hold on to them for a future sale, sure,
We're
but...
just going to use the same currency when it comes back around.
We'll just use the same currency. That being said, we don't make promises on when the next USD sale is. But if you have a couple extra, like you miscounted and bought 5 more than you meant to, we will refund you $5. Like we will make it good. We might not make it good through the USD store. We might like PayPal you $5 to make it good, but we will. Just note us.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Is there anything else that came up with that? I don't think so.
I covered most of the questions that came up in my ramble.
Yeah, your very long ramble. As we cringe at the thought of it.
I know. All right. Do we have raffle winners?
Was I supposed to be rolling those?
Why wouldn't you be rolling them? I'm rambling. You're rolling.
Well, we didn't close it. Okay, I am closing the raffle whenever I find it.
Oh, done. You had 1 job. I'm lying. She has like 1,000 jobs.
About to say, man.
She has like 1,000 jobs at this. All right. Raffle is closed up.
Thank you, Disc and his Lua.
And then we'll get those rolled. I'll announce winners. We'll ask for any final questions. Actually, you know what? Let me just go ahead and ask for final questions. Please go start typing them. It can be anything that we've covered in this podcast or just something Toko's related you want to know in general. Again, I apologize for our technical difficulties with the mic. I will try and get us a better mic for the next time we sit down to do this, which will probably be around the time gardening releases.
Mm-hmm. Or knowing you'll have a random conversation in Jen and be like, we're doing a podcast on this. And we'll be like, we're doing what? On what?
I make it work.
Oh, you stress me out.
Okay, but we had this conversation 2.5 weeks ago. Actually, like 3 weeks ago. And I didn't strike it with you that weekend or the following weekend because we were busy.
I know, I do appreciate that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Which other raffle? Middle child dirt jar?
Did we not get that handled?
I thought that got rolled. I'm not sure, Kep. I will go investigate that after I feed Thomas, because he's going to be waking up here pretty soon. Apparently he was just having a nightmare. Poor kid.
Is he at that developmental or? Okay.
Oh yeah, kids start having nightmares and dreams around 4 or 5 months old.
Oh, I misrolled that. God damn me. Sorry, 1 second.
That's when sleep regression starts.
35 and 32.
She's rolling. Hold on.
Okay. Am I supposed to give you names or supposed to just go ping them?
I mean, give me names and then go ping them. This is grand prize.
Okay, grand prize is Lua.
Islua! Congrats! You won the grand prize.
And then Sarah and Jackdaw J.
Sarah?
Sarah.
Sarah.
I
Right.
think Sarah Creeps.
Oh, Sarah Creeps. Okay, so Sarah and Jackdaw J, you win the runner-up. Dunn is going to ping you guys all over there into wow Furion.
Wow, what?
Gonna ping you over in the Discord. And then the
Wow, you guys all can go see me roll in the rolling channel, you nerds.
and then ping Dunn back with what build you want for your bando, and we'll get it into your bank. Okay?
Nah,
Alright.
doing the things.
Calm down. You don't have to hand out the prizes right this moment. You're good.
Oh, am I just supposed to be pinging the winners?
Yeah, just ping the winners. You don't have to like hand out their prizes. You don't even know what 2 of them technically want yet. And then let's go and do a check for
Yeah,
questions. Dun dun dun.
at Sarah and at...
Okay, so I have a question here from Allie. Would the refund option only be available to the original buyer of the tokens? You mentioned they were transferable. So if someone used TT/items to get tokens to USD, would that be an issue? Yeah, that would be. We're gonna need your receipt for purchase to refund these. Once the sale is done, we will likely turn off the transferable function on them. So to avoid people trying to sell them like mid-year. Okay? That's a great point. Thank you for bringing it up. We don't want this to be used to scam people. So once the sale shuts down, we'll make the currency untransferable so you can't sell it to somebody for them to come and get USD out of us. We'll try and protect everybody as best we can that way. Okay. Any other questions?
You're the one looking. I'm handling prizes right now.
Okay, I'm asking them.
Oh.
You know, the people on the podcast listening to me? Yeah, I'm asking them. But it does not look like there is. I don't see anybody typing. And you've handed out prizes?
I have pinged all the people.
Beautiful. That's all we needed. Alrighty. Well, I think that's everything that I had to talk about today.
Cray got me good again. Why?
It's because it's cray. All right. So thank you for joining us. I know that we had an unfun topic with design theft in general, but you know, we had lots of other fun things going on today.
I hope you enjoyed all the spoilers that Jill made me, put in there.
Yeah, I hope you enjoyed all the spoilers, and I hope that we're able to do something really good for charity here in April. I'm excited about it. Anything you want to say, Dunn?
What are you gonna end up releasing if we do something ridiculous like we did for the Trevor project again?
I
don't even know.
I will find something. If they pull off something crazy like $8,000 again, randomly when they were not prepared for it this time, I'll figure out something. It'll be amazing. Maybe I'll just, I don't know, pull like wire coat out of Alpine.
Oi!
What?
Oh my god, did you just 2 for spoil that?
Yeah, I did.
Oh my god.
All right, then. All right. Lots of love, everybody. I will talk to you all later. Bye.